Welcome to the DCR AidStation. I don't know what number we're up to now. I think it's 23. I'm Matt Raymond.
And I'm Ali Pottinger.
How are you doing, mate?
Good. Yeah, I'm good. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, it's nice to see you too. We were just talking that the three of us, since we all came together with this new sort of iteration of Dirtish Radio, we've been like ships in the night. We've been all three of us, or a combination of us, have been in Australia for pretty much the entire time. What are you up to?
I'm actually having a holiday with my stepdaughter, my sister, and my son.
How good is that? I mean, it's
That should be cool.
very, very well deserved. It's fantastic news, and it feels like ages since we were away at Ultra Trail Kosciuszko, but that was only a little over a week ago. How was your touch back down, your reintroduction back to normal old New Zealand life?
Yeah, how long have you got, Matt?
We've got a while. What's been?
It's my life situation is slightly different probably to most people. So coming home is you kind of have to hit the ground running. But it was nice to see Kerry again and just to have a bit of time at home. Sebastian was super stoked to be reunited with his toys. So that was good.
It's nice, isn't it? Very, notwithstanding the amazing privilege of getting to do what we do, I bumped down pretty hard too, like straight back into. I was smart this time, so I did a couple of things differently. This trip away, one, I actually had a good amount of a good few hours sleep before my night shift, rather than just not doing anything or taking care of myself. And two, I had a day after we got back where I didn't go straight back to work, so I wasn't
good,
which was super nice. But what a time it was! Kosciuszko itself, it was blazing sun one day and then torrential rain and thunder for the next two. I mean, for your perspective, you must have felt like you were haunting the Kosciuszko National Park. And there are some pretty obvious differences between Coast to Kosci, which is, the main episode that we heard last week, and Ultra Trail Kosciuszko. How was that comparison for you, though?
Yeah, they're really so different, but I love them both. There was obviously kind of polar opposites almost in weather. There was a whole yin and yang where you've got, it was so hot at Coast to Kosci, just so hot and dry. And then we have Ultra Trail Kosciuszko, which had like a real combo. It had the heat, but it also had just kind of rain, a lot of rain. I mean, there's no other way to say it really, is there? There was a lot of rain. And it was a race where I had seen pretty much everyone finishing in their full mandatory gear, so that doesn't happen too often. But then I guess like the other kind of way to compare them is that with Coast to Kosci and Ultra Trail Kosciuszko, there's the beauty of participation, right? Like, so kind of, C to K is a bit like the big girls and boys race.
Yeah.
Where it's, the full on kind of really serious runners from Australia and a few other countries. But then, like at Ultra Trail Kosciuszko, this 30K start line was so fun. Just like, I don't know, the stoke and the excitement and the, like the novelty, because there were so many first timers. So it was a really different vibe in that way. And it's cool to see the whole kind of spectrum of trail running there in terms of participation. Like Ultra Trail Kosciuszko, like we had those gnarly 100-mile runners that really gritted it out. Even the 100K, like it's quite a tough 100K race. And the weather that they faced kind of was a challenge for those athletes. So yeah, we kind of saw the whole lot there, from like the real beginners just super pumped to be on their first start line sort of thing, and to the people that were like gritting it out.
It was very different running a 30K race, and that's not to say, everything I do is ultra and I live ultra marathon. But it's so different, and I thought, I've been you, I've been that guy, I've done that, I've made that mistake. I nearly made that mistake before. Just seeing the range of motion and people with the heat and everything like that, and the long descent down to Bullock's Flat. It was 14K essentially. It wasn't strictly downhill, but there was a lot of descending, a lot of really flowy, beautiful, and people just destroying themselves. It was really interesting.
Did I? I don't know if I said it on the podcast, but there was a guy that I saw hobbling down the corridor the afternoon of the race, and I was like, oh, did you have a good day? He's like, oh, yeah, I was kind of like battered from 10K. My knee just gave out. And I was like, what? And he'd done the 30K, so he spent 2/3 of it hobbling on his knee. And I was like, oh, my goodness.
It was certainly really refreshing, actually, to be part of that 30K. And again, we talk about this. I don't want to sort of overstate it, but it did feel novel, and it was really, really cool. And I'd encourage anyone who's listening out there, don't just who is an experienced ultramarathon runner or likes the longer distances, like jump into a shorter race because it's super fun.
It is fun. It's so fun, and I think it enables you to race more, or to see more, or to have another jolly away with your friends.
Yeah, absolutely, and not feel too smashed afterwards, or not, you feel tired and everything like that. And certainly the Australian races, they are challenging,
Yeah, definitely.
It's not but it's not that kind of, I'm going to need 2 weeks off, or I'm going to need to, it's not like our mate Andrew, who's like, my feet are still pretty swollen. I'm still just hanging out, having a well-deserved beer. It's pretty nice. Look, question I want to ask you, and I think this bears bit of further exploring. We saw some extreme conditions over the last few weeks of racing in Australia, with GPT being cancelled the week before, not even mid-race, towards the end of the race. And you think about Lucy Bartholomew, she got 140 kilometres in before the 100 mile was closed due to extreme heat. Andrew and other runners at Coast Kosci, they were running through 38 to 40 degree heat. And then we had the full gamut of, it was very, very hot that day. I don't know what it was temperature-wise, but the day I got to Sydney Airport was the hottest place in the world. And then, we did the race, and it was burning hot sunshine, and we thought it'd be thunderstorms. And then the next 2 days, it was just like this torrential rain. What do you think the sport? There's weather and there's climate change, right? Like, what do you think we're going to be looking at as a sport? How are we going to navigate the change in climate change? And like, when is hot too hot?
Yeah, there's a lot in there, right? Like, I know about, Kira and I had a chat about it maybe a couple of months ago, because we were talking about, when we first started getting involved with UTA, and if you'd said, you'll have all these challenges with the course over the coming years, we would have been like, whatever, no way. Or, or things like Tussock Traverse ending up needing to be cancelled because there's a snowstorm come through, or, all these kind of different situations that are happening with extreme weather events across Australasia. So I guess one of the things that people probably need to think about is getting race insurance, being prepared for it, because we are, vulnerable to the weather as a sport. And also, I guess, recognising that races are responsible for you. So it's all well and good going, well, I'd go out in that weather. That's fine. You might go out in that weather. But would you be responsible for hundreds or even thousands of people in that weather? If you had to pin your livelihood on it, or other people's lives on it.
As someone who's had to take out indemnity, I have both professional indemnity insurance and having to take out indemnity insurance for Riverhead Rampage. Yeah. When you're looking at there's 6 zeros behind the sum of money that you're taking out for your silly little trail race that's happening in Riverhead Forest. Yeah. This is the thing. I imagine that there would have been that consideration for the 1,300 participants that were out on that course, say Kosciuszko, Ultra Trail Kosciuszko specifically, when they had to pause it, that must have been, and this isn't to be, stalwart defenders. I think they made the right call.
Yeah.
But they would have got a bit of flack about that as well, you have to think.
Yeah, and I guess it's tricky because people are coming from past experiences, but then, where I would like to think that, people that are in the game are constantly reflecting on and improving upon what they're offering. So, yeah, it's tricky. And then to kind of go to when is too hot. It's hard, right? Because we've got races like Badwater, which is absolutely insane. So I guess for me, then I go, well, that's fine as long as you can provide the things that you need to help keep people safe as well. So if it's ice, if it's cool, like whatever cooling strategies you can, that sort of thing, so that they can go the distance through that heat.
Well, that's the thing too, isn't it? I think a race like Badwater, it's not like, right, see you in 10K, boys and girls. It's you've got a camper van following you with the lights on the whole time, and if you need to jump in a chili bin full of water, or ice cold Pedialyte or whatever it is, then it's there. I think it would be a completely different kettle of fish if you were just like running down that white line and with no aid, everyone would probably die, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's tricky. I guess it depends on the course, the distance between aid stations, what you can offer in terms of cooling strategies. But, I mean, we're kind of seeing lots of heat waves around the world, increasing kind of temperatures that we're running through. So something to think about.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's going to have to just be something that we navigate. I know we've spoken to Damien Hall a couple of times, and he has a real, as he's gotten further along into that whole sort of climate thing, the climate change, which is a contentious topic. It's a political topic. Perhaps it shouldn't be. But he's talking about also how do we as runners contribute that? How do we offset our footprint? Are we traveling to races in Europe? Are we doing things that, we could be supporting more local races, or we could be offsetting stuff? So I think there's that individual stuff, but from a race perspective, yes, I think it's something that we're going to have to get better at navigating, and we're going to have to, like you said, with the race insurance, or actually getting it through our head that at times discretion might be the better part of valor. I know when I was running on, it was a Thursday, I was like, man, I was thinking about Tarawera, and that was the hottest I think that I've been since or certainly one of the hottest races I've ever run. And it was, at significantly higher elevation than we normally run in New Zealand. And I was thinking, how's this going to be if this is 10 hours of this, through the day, or what's that look like, and how do I cope with that? So it certainly gives you pause and makes you think about like the things that you need to do to ameliorate that risk. So I guess it's a watch this space kind of thing, hey? Hey gang, it's Matt here. I just wanted to let you know about That's It, which is a range of natural skincare products from Aotearoa, 100% natural, antibacterial and antifungal. I'm using the anti-chafe gel because things are getting hot over summer and I want to keep moving in tip-top shape. This stuff is delicious. It smells great, goes on easy, washes off really well, doesn't wreck your clothes. I'm a massive fan. I'll tell you who also is a massive fan, Ini Raumati. He is using it to keep him moving safely and without undue discomfort in his 8-stage races over 8 continents in 1 year. Look, head to that'sit.nz for more information. Check out their range of products. They've got heaps and heaps of stuff, but their anti-chafe gel, it really is that good. That'sit.nz. Give them a crack.
Yeah, it's a good reminder, right, to train in all weathers, because it's all well and good training in your little comfortable Goldilocks zone that might be, between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. in the summer. But if you're running out there at, the peak times of 2 or 3 p.m., then you want to be training in it as well. Or likewise, like Ultra Trail Kosciuszko, the 100 Ks and 100 milers running through the rain. So being equipped to, work out what you need in those conditions or how to manage yourself in those conditions is really important.
Super important. And actually super exciting. It's another part of that puzzle, isn't it? I really enjoyed going to the aid stations because, A, they were really well stocked and it was awesome. Like, it was industrial comfort, with the massive taps and stuff. But just like getting the ability, like having the joyous opportunity to just punch a bunch of watermelon and
in your mouth hole.
Yeah, in my mouth hole, the smile bones. And a guy passed me. I passed him actually. I passed him walking out of the aid station. He goes, I wish I'd done that. And I had like a handful of watermelon and I was just happily eating it, just walking, going like, this is actually, doesn't really get much better than this, to be fair.
Oh, it would have been so good too in those conditions.
Yeah, it's amazing. But I guess the thing for me is every time you have the opportunity to cool yourself down or provide yourself with a moment of comfort in hot weather, you should do so. Yeah,
definitely.
Right, speaking of hot weather, I can see the sun glinting through the window there for you. You're a couple of out. You've still got it's raining here, unfortunately, but we should crack into the audio that we have, which was curtailed after the first day by the epic rain and conditions and our schedules. I was up overnight and we were all around the houses. But first off, you hear us heading up the hill towards Perish at the start of the weekend's racing. Then you'll hear from Ali and I just after my race finished, and then we wrap up that first day. And I mean, we hear one of the most truly horrifying trail stories that you will ever experience from one Mr. Benjamin Berriman, who, and it's telling it because he is so nice and thoughtful and just he's the epitome of courtesy, isn't he?
He's a gentleman.
He's a true Blue
gentleman.
Mountains gentleman. Yeah. And the telling of the story by this true Blue Mountains gentleman makes it all the worse. So stick around for that.
Currently, we are making our way to Perish, and by we, I mean Matt Raymond and Ben Berriman, for the start of Ultra Trail Kosciuszko 30 and 50K. They kick off our event weekend. Well, it's actually not the weekend yet, is it? It's Thursday.
Yeah, it's not really a weekend, isn't it? And thinking about the North America, it's Thanksgiving. Tomorrow, I guess, their time. So yeah, it's an odd time, but we're off. I'm now absolutely terrified about being hit by a kangaroo. You said that we had to be really vigilant about them.
Sorry, Matt. Matt's driving. I'm holding a very large microphone, and I just said, keep an eye out for kangaroos and wallabies because they are around these parts and we don't want to hit them for multiple reasons. What do you reckon the odds are, Ben?
Oh, I think you're pretty safe. I think they're probably tucked up in bed still. There's not a lot of sunshine out yet. But if you do see one, just jump with it.
That's great advice when you're driving. What are we in?
A giant, FU Battleship grey SUV. I don't even know what it is, but it's pretty sick. And here we are. We just headed out for start of the 30K, 50K. It's really exciting. I don't know about you guys, I always get that sense of nerves and a bit of anxiety about, what are we going to do at the start line? Will we muck up our line? All that stuff. But yeah, it's just very cool to be back in Kosciuszko and very cool to be taking part again.
Well, and by taking part, you actually are taking part. Last year, I did this where I emceed the start lines and then jumped in and went for a run. And today, Matt's doing it. And how excited are you about your run, Matt?
I am excited. It's very strange to be to be jumping in to be doing it, and it felt very transgressive. Like I emailed Tanya. I was like, mate, please the court if I could possibly see my way to partake in your event, because I feel that this would benefit both parties, that sort of thing. I'm really looking forward to it. I was saying to Berra before in the apartment, it's, you always have those mad thoughts like, I'm going to be dead last. Or I do anyway. I'm going to be dead last. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And that's just the call of the void. So, yeah, full call of the void. But apart from that, really looking forward to seeing the new courses, and really looking forward to, I've never pinned a bib on in Australia. So, yeah, super, super excited about that.
Popping your Australian race bib cherry. That's exciting.
On that, do you have any safety pins?
I don't think so. I'll have a look in my backpack, because most women probably can relate to this, is that the handbags and the backpacks contain a multitude of items that you don't even realise you're carrying.
Yeah, a repository of good usefulness. Hey, what are you most looking forward to on the week, about the next couple of days?
I mean, for me, I guess trail running is about the people and the environment. And so I'm looking forward to both of those things. Like already yesterday, I ate way too many Lindt Christmas chocolates and went back to the supermarket to buy more. And I thought, it's going to be busy. And of course, like going to the supermarket in Jindy, I got to see, like, just stop every few meters to say hi and have a chat with mates that I haven't seen for a little while. So that was awesome, because that's what I really look forward to, is just catching up with all my friends in the trail running community. And so that was really fun. And then also just the environment. Like, I've been here now, I landed in Australia last Tuesday, and now today is Thursday. So I've been here, 9 days? And just, I don't know, that sense of adventure, seeing different things, different sounds. Like I was talking with somebody about how, because they said, the New Zealand bush is just so beautiful. And I said, yeah, but the Australian bush is too. It's just in a different way. Like it can be quite samey from a visual point of view, but the sounds and the smells, I just love. Like, you get that whole immersive experience when you're in Australian bush. And that's what I really love, is just, being in it, and all of the kind of, all of the senses being overwhelmed. So really excited to be in the snowy mountains and get to be back in Australian soil.
Yeah, I get the sense of, it's just, like I bought a snake bandage yesterday. That's a micro-adventure in itself. I've never had to think about that. And the woman at the pharmacy, she was very, very sweet. She goes, you can use it for other things as well. And I said, what, other bites? Is this like a recommendation? Or do it, and I made the terrible dad joke, does half of it go on me, half of it go on the snake? How does it work? But it's that thing of you can get in your comfort zone, even, going to UTA and running around in the Blue Mountains. That feels reasonably comfortable now. But this is it's snow gums everywhere, crows, wallabies, kangaroos, and the snowy mountains. It's very, very different.
Speaking of snow gums, I read a sign when I was up Charlotte's Pass, and it said that snow gums are 200 to 300 years old, and the Aboriginal people say that they contain spirits of their past, which I thought was quite, it got me a little bit in the feels, thinking about, running amongst them and taking that on.
Yeah, it's such an old country, isn't it? It's when I was also thinking about, when we think about sustainability, or we think about the environment, you've mentioned that, like traveling over here yesterday, like you shared an article with me, I haven't read it yet, saying that Sydney Airport was the hottest place in the world briefly. Is that true?
I need to check my sources. It was just a headline that I shared, but I believe so.
Yeah, no wonder I woke up with a headache this morning. I was on that tarmac for a little while yesterday, and it was so hot. It was absolutely insane. Berra, what are you most looking forward to?
I'm particularly looking forward to getting out to a place other than the Blue Mountains. Despite the fact that Blue Mountains is still the greatest place in the world, it is quite nice to be out at a running event somewhere else. And I haven't actually been down here to our snowy mountains in the non-snowy period for a very long time in the summer. So I'm just looking forward to seeing an event in a very different environment to the Blue Mountains. It is different sorts of gum trees that are here, and also just catching up with people. There's a few people I've already seen that I haven't seen for a while. So those, I suppose, are the big things for me.
Right. Well, what we should do is probably concentrate on driving this beast, and we will see you all for a wrap-up of day one later. Radio.
He's done it. Matt, how was it?
That was incredible. Honestly, that was one of the coolest things I think I've ever done in my life. I've never done a run where it was just a conga line the whole time. So coming up over the Alpine, it saved me from making a complete clown of myself, which was really cool, which is something I'm really good at. And then coming first aid station through, it was just so hot. Like I've never run in that heat. So it's just about like really managing. So there's lots of like water, heaps of nutrition, heaps of water. Like what you said, like I was like, no, 2 litres of water capacity. I gave a litre of water away over the course to two different runners. Yeah. So no, it was excellent. And just managing the like running, you can't, like my heart rate was up in the 160s because it's so hot and high and all of that. And so just managing it was great. And I passed tons of people at the end. Like, it was awesome. So, yeah, I couldn't be happier.
It feels good to finish strong, right? And you look like Bear and I were kind of commentating you coming down the hill, and you look like you were running really well, which is awesome.
Like, I feel great. Like, my right foot's a little bit sore, but like, and I'm going to own it. Like, I did 55K 4 days ago. So I'm super happy. And, yeah, different crowd. Middle management, ain't no talking. Not a lot of chatty Cathy's.
Good thing you didn't take the mic out with you then, eh?
And the chatty chads. Yeah, no, it was awesome. So I feel so happy, yeah.
And what did you think, like scenery-wise, how does it compare to New Zealand running?
It was like being sort of in the Skedaddle or Kepler in parts, you know, like subalpine, like the bush is very similar to it. But yeah, just super hot and super, yeah. And coming through the thing, like down the thing and through the thing.
Oh, through that thing?
Past the thing through after the aid station. But the aid stations were super, like I was like, I wonder, because they've talked about how there's so many people coming through. It's just like big taps everywhere, water, there was no queue, heaps of watermelon, heaps of Coke, heaps of everything. It was sick. Yeah.
Fun. Oh, you're pumped. And we were wondering, you're dressed all in black. Were you regretting your life choices with that?
Yes and no. Like, you got to kind of, like, I like wearing black, you know. But I thought it was going to be fair, there's like, it's going to be thunderstorms and lightning and super hot, cold. So I was like, okay, this will be nice, yeah. But I at the second aid session, I bathed myself, yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, probably good heat strategies for Tarawera, right?
Absolutely. Heaps of good heat strategies, heaps of good nutrition, heaps of good thing, like real good. I'm going to put myself in the river now.
It's a cold river, the Threadbow River. There's a lot of people that have done likewise already, so I don't blame you. Well done, Matt. Solid run. And it's so cool to see you so pumped, like full of endorphins, eh?
Yeah, no, I'm pumped. I feel great. I feel great. All right, well, here we go. Day one, traditional wrap-up at all the races we do. Ali Pottinger, Ben Berriman, how was your day?
It was a good day.
Yeah, I've had a great day. It's been spectacular, really.
It's been a long day. We got up at, what time did we get up? 10 past. You insisted on 10 past 4 because it would feel psychologically so different.
Yeah, 10 past 4 alarm. It is. It makes a big difference. It's 4 o'clock and 10 past 4 are a whole different.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, I got up at 4:23, I think it was. Even more psychologically different. I can't even say it.
Yeah, I can see that, like the 4 and a 3 and a 2. It makes sense.
The Ditch Radio pivot to a numerological podcast. Yeah, I was up at like quarter to 4 because my sleep schedule is still on, like that's 5:45, which is about the time I wake up every morning. But what a day. Started at Perisher and we started off the 50K and the 32. What a fields, eh?
Yeah, it was good vibes.
I had it this morning. Every time I looked up, like the runners were awesome, but every time I looked up, I just kept on seeing the valleys around us too. I don't know. It was an amazing place to start a race, and I guess having essentially sold out fields there just added to that. So yeah, combination of all those people and where we were.
And quite a cool spectator point. So Perisher is for those who don't know, is a big ski resort. And so we were kind of surrounded by all these chalets, and you've got these chairlifts and these granite rocks and just lots of spectators there to kind of cheer their runners off, which was quite neat.
Yeah, it was definitely a party vibe, wasn't it?
It was.
I think it was it really helped too that both courses, the 50 had like that 5K loop, and then everyone runs back through the start area before they head off, and the 32 had a 2.5K loop, and then the same thing, and so the spectators get to see them go, but again 15-20 minutes later they're coming back through. You don't get that often in a race.
No, like normally we work the start line and the finish line, and we don't get to see spectators at any other point in the race. So it's quite cool to kind of have that. I mean, it's kind of mid-race.
Yeah.
It is mid-race, but it's still start of the race.
I don't know why I was surprised how steep that little section was. Like that wasn't just run out on a bit of flat trail and then rip back. That was through all the back roads by where the chalets.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The guy was like, this is the highest elevation on the whole course.
Ah.
We're at the top of Perisher, and then it was a 14K descent. So
yeah, awesome. It's probably a good point to point out that you ran the course, Matt, today.
Yes. So you would have heard in the little interview before with Ali and I on the finish line. I was very, very excited when I finished. Not excited to be over, just excited about the run. But we were on the new trail that goes from Perisher down to Bullock's Flat, and it was incredible. Like it was like the best of, like I said before, it was almost like sort of a mix of Kepler. It felt like times you were kind of ripping down those switchbacks, the Iris Burn, but all the shale and the rock that's been placed up in there, and it's just incredible.
I think I saw some footage of Ben St. Lawrence. It might have been that section running through, and it's almost like you've got this. I don't know how far was it, Perisher to Bullock's section? Like 14 Ks, and it's almost like you've got hand placed rocks to form the track the whole way.
Yeah. And that was the thing. There was so. I can't remember the last time I was in a race with that big a field. And so the first 14K, like you were in a conga line the whole way. And it was actually really cool because it stopped you being silly. Yeah.
I think that's kind of a good point to make too. If you are in a conga line in a race, it's good to just embrace it, right? Like trying to have some chats or just kind of appreciate the pacing strategy of it all. Enjoy the scenery.
It was a change for me. It was. Not many people spoke. Not many chats. Quite a bit of frustration initially, and I think that's probably down, thinking about it, down to nerves and wanting to kind of get started. And there's always that worry, at least initially, I think, in people's heads around their time. Because there was times where people would bunch up, and that was around stairs and stuff like that, which it was a very, very runnable, very, very runnable course, but just fantastic actually getting down. It was, because it was a conga line, I didn't get too many views because you're looking at the feet of the person in front of you and listening to the person behind you to sort of bang into you, but it was fantastic. If anyone listening in Australia or Australasia or the world, like, come up to the Snowy Mountains and go check out that section. It's just fantastic.
I was saying to you this morning, I haven't been to the Snowy Mountains in summer for decades, and I mean, I come down here in winter because if you want to come skiing, it's where you go. And my takeaway from day one is I've got to get back here with my family and just hang out. Like it's an amazing place.
Oh, even just seeing everyone hanging out by the river afterwards, like going for a swim in the cool water. And I thought, I'd like to do that on a hot day, just hang out with your mates, go for a swim in the river, kind of just a different vibe.
Yeah, I was totally, I'm going in the river, I'm going in the river, I'm going in the river. And then we got back here and I was like, I'm going to sit on the couch and have a shower. And yeah, it was fantastic. But apart from, I mean, we heard about my day. How was you guys' day? What did you get up to after you sent me off?
What did we get up to? We cheered the 30K runners back through the loop, and then we drove back down the hill, stopped in Jindy for a little supermarket cafe stop, and then came back. And then just mostly kind of like came back to see you finish. I was keen to hear how your run had gone. And then...
then I guess there was getting back onto the commentary at the finish line. So that was also awesome. I really enjoyed that last, I suppose, the last shift of the 50 runners. And it's great to see, those runners that are out there all day, and I don't think there was one runner that didn't have a face full of emotion when they finished this afternoon.
Yeah, there were quite a few kind of tearful moments from men and women. And it was just, you could see what it meant to people. And yeah, it's nice, I think, to be able to have the time, like the afternoon, like when you finished was very busy. And then when we got to be on the commentary shift, it was just starting to kind of quieten down. And it was actually really lovely because you can just enjoy that time with those people when they're having that moment of, I've done it.
It was incredibly busy, wasn't it? At that time, it was quite overwhelming. I got in just after just on 2:30, and just how hot it was. Like that was one of the things. Like we can't today how hot it was, and I was worried about the elevation because famously live at sea level, and I think the race started. What did the race start at? Like 1,700 meters.
Yeah, it must be around there.
Or something like that. Yeah. And then we dropped down. I was like, oh, yeah, sweet. The air's feeling thicker. But even that was relative to like nearly 1,000. But it was so hot. And passing, because we caught up to the back of the 50K field. And there were some people in real distress. And like real, like both psychological and physiological distress. Like on the side of the course, the Kosciuszko cramp monster was out in force, I tell you what. And people just, I can't imagine, I couldn't have imagined running past, heading up Merritt's Nature Walk, and then was it down, or was it up? And
I think it's up Dead Horse Gap, down Merritt's, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing that struck me when you finished and you're talking about the heat is that you were talking about that up high it was actually okay. But when you got down in the valley, that's when you felt the heat. I'm interested in that. Like, is it because the air was stiller and so you could feel it just felt like it was on you?
Thicker, it was stiller, no wind.
Well, yesterday too, we had like really massive downpours. So there's probably quite a lot of humidity, which you'd be feeling down by the river as well, kind of. Yeah.
It's cool though, but I just, those people at the 50K and like we were talking before we got off my end, got on my like another 6 hours for that 20K. And unfortunately people got cut off.
Yeah.
That's the game though, right?
It's the game, yeah.
1 minute though. 1 minute?
No, they finished.
They did finish.
Yeah, they finished, yeah.
I think there may have been some got cut up higher. It's just...
I mean, it's not comrades.
No, they weren't stepping across the line and blocking people who were about to run over.
Devin and Roche out there.
I would so be like, okay, my shift's finished, guys, I'm out. I can't do this. Oh, brutal.
What stood out for both of you, highlight of the day?
Highlight of the day. Barry, you can go first. I'm going to mull this over.
That's a tough one. Personally, my highlight was just being at the start. I really did enjoy that. And it was a real sense of where we were. Obviously, there's the idea that it's the start of a race and everyone's excited. But for me, it was just something about where we were at, and it just resonated with me.
I think this is going to sound like a real brown nose, but my highlight was actually seeing how stoked you were to finish your race. Like, you got to explore somewhere new, had a good run, like And I think that's what it's about, like people just enjoying our sport and exploring the outdoors, and to see you so passionately excited about it was really neat.
It's been a while,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
My highlight didn't hit my head. That's pretty good.
True, yeah.
Didn't stack.
No concussion.
No concussion, yay. I really enjoyed being up at Perisher as well. I thought that was fantastic. The other thing I really enjoyed was being amongst a group, and I said this to you, there was some carnage on the back half of that 30K. People went out way too fast. They were way too hot. It was...
So speaking of that, I met a guy in the stairwell going down to start my shift, and he's hobbling along, and I'm like, oh, you know, how'd you go? He's like, oh, yeah, my leg blew out after about 10K, so I just kind of walked the last 20. And I was like, oh, which distance did you do? And he said the 30K. And I was like, oh, mate, 2/3 of your race you've been hobbling along. But he was pumped. He was going back to see his mates finish, and he was like, had a good time. So I'm sure we'll probably see him here next year.
Incredible. The one, and I will own this as well, I took a little bit of snark. I had a little bit of snark at the, you got to carry capacity of 2 litres of water, and I will own that I snarked that up. Obviously I had the 2 litres of water capacity. I had 4 soft flasks that I had 3 on the go pretty much from 14K, and I gave 2 people water. Mm-hmm. One person, I gave them a 500 ml of fluid. I was like, you need to drink that right now. She did. And then there was a guy, shout out to Chad, he's probably about a mile, 2K or a mile from the finish. And he's like, dude, have you got any water? I was like, yeah, absolutely. Get that down here.
It was one of those days, right? Like it started cool, and I would not have, estimated how hot it actually got. Like it wasn't forecast to be that hot, but it was hot.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say the highlights thing before I forget. There was another one too at the finish. There was a guy, he's Henry was his name, and he came across with all his family, and like he was just hanging around after he got his medal, and I just thought, I'll have a quick chat to him. And he'd said last year he was the last finisher, and he made it with 4 minutes to go, and that he'd said he had to come back and he had to do, like in his mind, and he took an hour off his time. And I thought that was an awesome one too. Yeah.
I just remembered my actual funny highlight was Bero's story at the start. Like we have to share it. It's too funny. I actually just about wet my pants when he told it. It was so funny. So what's the context of it? I think I'd said something about.
So we were discussing how last week's Riverhead Rampage, someone had got to a corner about 3K into it. Because so there's history with this. At Barlow Road, which is a famous road in the forest of Riverhead, and it goes up and around this corner, there is a corner at the top that is forever known, for Eugene and myself and Say1 actually, as Disgrace Corner, because Riggs got to the top of this, the dog got to the top of this corner, and two people had just had a big dump on the side of the road, and he burrowed into that, and we had to run the last 7K with this Kelpie dog completely caked in human excrement. And Say1, the Korean Terminator, was running, and he was retching. He was going, like that. And he's so polite, you know. He wouldn't want to, and so this week, someone had got to the corner, and obviously the mule had been kicking at the door, but they'd just taken a single step off the side of the trail, or not even off the side of the trail, and just, evacuated their bowels. And Riggs came around this corner, and it was like those, when people break coffee tables, like he went into it like that, and he had a harness on, and he was just completely covered. And then he bolted off, and he rubbed up against Lily, our youngest daughter's leg, 14-year-old's leg. So, and she was covered also. So that's what we were talking about. Continue.
And then Bero shared his story, which I feel he's sharing because it got me good.
Well, I think it was a combination of you talking about people needing to use the toilet, stepping off the track, dogs, and it reminded me of a friend of mine who we'd been running. And, sometimes you try, but you just can't wait any longer.
Heart wants what the heart wants.
And so we're down on a fire trail. There's not a lot of people get down there. He's done the right thing. He's stepped off the track behind a tree and he's done his business. And almost the moment he finished, just as he sort of is pulling his pants up, this dog comes bounding around the tree. About 5-10 seconds later, the dog's owner steps behind and goes, "Oh, I'm sorry," looks down at the ground and goes, "Oh, I'm really sorry," gets out the dog poo plastic bag and picks up my friend's poo and proceeds to carry it out, thinking that it was her dogs that had left it there.
And I guess you would have been sort of just awed into silence, really.
I think once the person's picked it up, what do you do? What?
You could just gone, no, I'll take that.
Did you laugh afterwards? Like, what was the conversation?
You know what the conversation was? I just think we laughed the whole way out. And I said, this friend of mine is a very quiet, very bad, does not like attention drawn to themselves. And I don't think they actually spoke for the rest of the run. They didn't know what to say.
They would have got home and their partner would have been like, "How's your run, Dale? Nothing happened."
Nothing happened. I'm off to see my psychologist Monday morning.
So there we go. Let us know in the comments your favourite excrement-related running story. But it can't all be aspirational seriousness. Sometimes it's about people backing up your dog. People backing up your dogs. What have we got on tomorrow?
So the 100 miler kicks off at 3:30 a.m. in Jindabyne, and then the 100k starts, which you're going to be on the start of, right? Yeah. And then Bear and I just get to. So it's weird actually because we're not on until 2:00, and it feels weird to be kind of smack bang into an event, but having some downtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm doing 6:30 till about 11 o'clock, and then I'm on at 9 and I'm doing the night train through. So I'm super excited about that. I'm gonna be very little tomorrow.
On the night shift.
Yeah.
No, I think I've been blessed with my timings this time round. I seem to have dodged the midnight shifts this time and the early starts. So I'll be thinking of you.
All right. Well, let's. I want to go to bed.
Yeah. You've earned a good sleep, mate.
Well, I think we all have. And, congratulations to everyone. 3rd year of the Ultra Trail Kosciuszko. Amazing organisation. Everyone's having a blast. Couldn't fault it, and look forward to seeing what tomorrow brings. Dirt Church Radio is me, Matt Raymond.
And me, Ali Pottinger.
With our old mate, Andrew McDowell. Stay tuned for the regular DCR podcast over the upcoming weeks. Oh, we're so excited. We've got some super cool guests in the bag with you and ready to share. Hei konei, hei kona.